What's up, everybody, and welcome to my first video of the coverage of 2019 Dallas International Film Festival. I'm Chase Lee, and this is my fifth year covering this festival. I always love doing it. You never know what gems you will find. Some of them I am aware of and I'm excited for, maybe disappointed by it, or maybe love it even more, or vice versa, where I have no idea what the movie is and I go in blind. I either love it, hate it, or whatever. It's just a neat little feeling because you never know what you're going to get. Now, I have 11 films to review for you guys. They will be scattered throughout my channel as I go throughout this festival, but I have seen 4 of them so far. And this is the first one, and this one would be Her Smell, and this one is written and directed by Alex Ross Perry. And this one stars Elizabeth Moss as a punk rocker who has formed a band called Something She. Kind of has the same, feeling and same vein as like Joan Jett or that. Obviously, you can tell my music knowledge is pretty vast. Anyways, it's kind of like that type of music, kind of that punk rock with a female lead. And in this case, an all-female band. Anyways, it's just her and her 2 bandmates, and we see at the beginning of the movie she is really excited that they've gone platinum, like they're living in their kind of heyday of their music career. It's very early on. People seem to love them. They seem to love doing it, and of course, with that comes fame and success, and it seems like everything is going fine. But then we start to realize that Elizabeth Moss's character has an addiction to drugs and alcohol, and really feeling time slip away from them and feeling less and less relevant, so they want to try to get back on top at the same time. And she seems to be going through this like self-destructive phase, and we're kind of witnessing it as an audience. And so that's basically what the story is. Going into it, I had somewhat of a clue of what it was about and who was in it and stuff. I was a huge fan of Alex Ross Perry's Queen of Earth. That also starred Elizabeth Moss, a very kind of underrated one that no one ever talks about anymore. But I was first introduced to it by one of my friends I follow on Twitter, and I took his word at it, and it turned out to be a really good movie. So I was excited for it. I was like, cool, let's see what he does with the punk rock scene, or even just like the rock and roll kind of story that we're all kind of used to with, addiction grappling on to people that we love the most, and seeing how they overcome it, or if they even do. So I gotta be honest with you, I was a little disappointed by this movie. The way Alex Ross Perry sets this movie up is in 5 vignettes, each one I think ranging anywhere from 30 to 35 minutes. I mean, that's just a rough estimate. The whole film is 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's way too long, and it's not because they have these 5 vignettes that are long stretches of time. It's the matter of content that's in them. So within the 5 vignettes, we have some moments of greatness, and we have some moments of pure boredom and repetitiveness that you could have easily cut in the editing room or reworked in the script or something. Because at some point, when you're as aggressive as this film is with its themes and Elizabeth Moss's performance, it can become exhausting. And you don't want that in this type of movie, because this is a very serious movie about addiction and stuff. You don't want to feel that. But there was a part of me where I realized that you could have easily cut out the 2nd vignette, could have easily gotten rid of the 5th one, and ended it on the 4th. I mean, but then it shortens the movie down to maybe an hour and a half. I mean, that could have worked. I mean, if this film was a little tighter in its editing and story structure, I think we could have had a really unique take on the whole kind of rock and roll addiction type of story trope. Because the one thing I really like what Alex Ross Perry did was create, especially the vignettes involving the backstage of the building where they perform. What I really enjoyed was it had this kind of energy and this flow of like a Birdman, just minus the one-shot visual, style. It felt sweaty, it felt grungy, it felt dirty, but it was such a lived-in environment where you really felt like these were a group of punk rockers talking to all these people, throughout their lives in this backstage area. Everything felt so lived in that it was a really great creative choice. This just comes down to a matter of what do you cut out and what do you keep in, sort of deal to keep the flow going and not make it feel tiring or stagnant along the way. So that's mainly where the problems lie, is within that. But the creative choices from Perry to do it the way he did, I highly enjoy that, because they gave room for the actresses and the actors to flourish and really kind of show their strengths. Elizabeth Moss has always been a great actress, right? But there's something about this movie where she has aggression and finesse with her acting. This is a character that's slowly losing her mental state of being. And she is the type of actress that can show these little flourishes of like mental breakdown and not make it seem over the top or cartoonish, but portray it in a real and grounded way where you feel for this character, and also at the same time you can't believe how good this acting is. So that is one of the pros about this directing style that Perry had, was to really let the actors kind of just run wild in a good way and really kind of use every single inch of scenery and really kind of just explore their characters and really get to the nitty gritty of it. So I really enjoyed that. And also with the directive and creative choices or whatnot, I do like the sense of disorientation and kind of controlled chaos that Perry decides to implement in the sound design. I have no issue with that. Once again, just going back to how much of this is repetitive, how much of this is necessary for the story, and what could we have cut out and what could we have shortened to make it a little tighter and more impactful. So it's a toss-up, but this is how I decided to pick out this grade, because you're probably thinking like, oh, there's a lot of bad things about this, but you like a lot of good things. That's true. But if there's 5 vignettes and I didn't really care for 2 of them, then you're down to 3. 3 out of 5 is a little bit over the halfway point. So if a C is down the middle and it's the halfway point, a little over would be a C+. Now, I was battling between a C+ and a B-, but I do think that if you have 2 big chunks of movie that are a little bit either distracting or tiring, that does kind of weigh it down a little bit more for me. So I think I'm going to give Her Smell a C+. Kind of a letdown for me. I do enjoy Perry's style and definitely his previous work with Queen of Earth. I got to see some more films. I'm aware of that. But for this one in particular, it just wasn't for me. But I appreciate doing something different in the rock and roll addiction story genre, even if it didn't fully work out for me. So that is my review of Her Smell. Let me know down below what you thought of it, if I'm wrong, right, whatever. I like to know everyone's opinions and thoughts down below. That will do it for this review of the Dallas International Film Festival, and continue on with my coverage of this, because this is just one of 11, so many more to go. So I will see you guys later.